Hello, welcome back to Just Another Football Podcast, the next episode. It's been an interesting week, back from the international break, and there's been some interesting fixtures going on throughout the week. I'm pleased to say I'm joined by that other guy, or Harry Nichols, and our special guest this week is Angus, or Goose, to us.
Yeah, hello, thanks for having me on.
Pleasure
I'm very
to have
excited to talk about the Spurs game.
It's been a good weekend for Spurs, but, people are saying the title... they're in this title race, and some would say they're favourites, but we should all calm down. Other than that, Liverpool got a good win against Leicester, which I think, especially after everyone saw Salah was out for COVID, everyone thought this might be Leicester's chance. Even before the weekend, when Trent was out, they had, 10 starters maybe injured. I mean, I still thought the team that Liverpool put out were really good, quality-wise, but it's a good win for them, and shows maybe they are still in this title race.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, true.
You can never really rule Liverpool out. I mean, even we said at the start of the season, a few times that the squad looks thin, but it's just the quality they have and the manager as well. I also didn't think Leicester played that well either.
Yeah.
Poor and passive.
The other game we're going to talk about, even though Bolton did win and is now 3 wins and 3 against Stevenage, is the Fulham Everton game, because that was really entertaining when I was watching it.
Cracker.
It was absolute end to end, especially the first half. Let's get on with our first game, which was Spurs v Man City. Spurs winning 2-0 with the Celso and Son goals. But where do you see Spurs finishing this season? Would be my first question from what we've seen.
Well, me? What do I think?
Yeah.
I think we will get top 4. I think we've demonstrated that we've got enough for that already. I don't know. I don't think we'll win the league. But I'm not going to stop myself getting excited about it. I think just looking at it, if there was a season where that was going to happen, I think you actually said it like a couple of weeks ago. If there was a season where we were going to do it, it looks like this season would be it. I mean, Liverpool, we don't have these injuries. Like Van Dijk's out for most of, if not the whole season, so that's like a big loss for them. As well as City, I just think, I know I'm just saying because we just beat them, but they haven't looked good this season, and they really didn't look good yesterday, on Saturday rather either. I don't know who else, maybe like Chelsea as well, but I just don't think Lampard's got it in him to win a title.
Yeah,
I really don't. I think just
Leicester. No,
trust Jose. No, not Leicester. Just Jose, man. I think you can never rule him out ever. I think even when he arrived, everyone said he was dusted, and then I think he's proven that he's not that, at least.
I mean, there are some worrying factors in my eyes. For example, Kane and Son, except from them two, your second highest scorer has got 1 goal, which is a variety of players like Bale, Moura, Aurier, Celso, and Ndombele. And you've also got Europa League, which is a problem in most seasons. Never mind with this packed season, so that'll be interesting how you deal with that. But then you're second on expected points behind Chelsea. You are currently top of the league. You have Son, who's currently top scorer, Kane with the most assists, and Reguilon looks like an absolute bargain.
Yeah, I think he's great. I was on the goal scorers thing. I think I should point out in Europe as well, people have scored. I think Ndombele's got another in Europe. The Celso's got 2 or maybe 3 in Europe. So other people are scoring in Europe. I think that will come. Other people will score. I think once Bale gets back to full fitness, I think he'll score some more as well. But it is a concern because our other attacking options aren't great. Like Lucas, I don't rate particularly highly. Lamela, I think, is absolute garbage. And we haven't seen enough of this Vinicius guy yet to tell whether he's going to be he looked right on his debut. He got a couple of assists, but he hasn't looked great since then. So if we keep them fit, which is when Kane normally picks up an injury at some point, I don't know. I mean, they have both been absolutely incredible, but not much else going forward from anyone else. But we'll see, really, because those two themselves will if they stay fit all year, then who knows? Because they can win games for us so easily.
Yeah,
just the two of them, really.
Son is also
they need some help, definitely.
Son is also overachieving his expected goals ridiculously. I've never seen this before, and you can't expect it to continue. So expected goals says he should have had 3.86 from his shot location. He's currently got 9, which is 5.5. Yeah, just over 5 goals above. And if you think of it, last year, Jamie Vardy was known as like this guy that overachieved his XG, and over an entire season, only did it by 4. Yeah.
What was the XG for the shot on Saturday? Do you know?
That's what I was thinking, because that looked like when I saw that stat, it did surprise me. Because I was thinking, it's 4 goals against Southampton. Like those all seem like goals that you'd expect someone to score. They're all quite simple.
It was
maybe the first one was quite difficult, but the second 3 were all like just through on goal, putting them away. The one against Burnley as well was a header from like 5-6 yards out, and the one on Saturday.
So the one on Saturday
just those
was
ones.
0.29, which is still quite high for one.
Yeah, I just thought it wouldn't take into account where the goalkeeper was standing, because the goalkeeper makes that into an easier chance than it probably should have been from where he takes a shot from, because the goalkeeper's so far out, makes it a bit easier.
There was one against Man United which was 0.14 in the 36th minute. I think that might have been just after the Martial.
Oh yeah, that was one through the legs from a tight angle.
There was one again. I mean, they're not bad. They're still really good shot location, and he's still got 0.47 XG and 0.22 expected assists, which is 0.69 per 90, which is still really good and what you'd expect to see in any elite forward. But he is literally finishing every single chance he has.
Yeah, that is it. I can't really remember him missing a chance this season, and he normally does miss a few. He does seem a lot more confident when he runs through now. You do sort of expect him to score every time. Yeah. And in the few years past, you just didn't really. I mean, you expect it with Kane every time. Every time Kane gets a chance, you expect him to score. With Son, not so much. He's always been prone to a few misses, but like this season, he has just. I'd say every single goal is a goal you get put through, and if he misses it, it's a bad miss. But you don't expect him to score every single time. But he has just scored every single time. So I know, it won't continue. He's also the quality of chance he's been given as well. Many from Kane has been like something that he hasn't had in previous seasons. So he's getting great chances and putting them away, which won't continue. Yeah, I'm sure he knows that. I think everyone knows that. Really, it can't carry on like that. But
so you talked about the Celso and about how he's been doing well in Europe. Would you like to see him get more minutes in the league? Because he's got he's only got about 200, I think, so far. Yeah,
it was weird because last year, I don't know if he won player of the season, but he was probably one of our best players last season. He's had an injury, like he missed a few games, and he sort of seemed to have settled on a 3 of Højbjerg, Ndombele, and Sissoko as a 3. I think since the United game, that was the first time he played those 3 together, and he's played them together every time since then started. But I would like to see him come in for Sissoko in most games. Maybe not on Saturday because you want Sissoko in that sort of game. But against like West Brom, I don't know why Lo Celso didn't start.
Because I was a massive fan of his. He signed £50 million from Betis.
Yeah, about that. Yeah,
he looks so
he's
good.
Great.
Betis. Yeah, there was that game last season. There was like a run last season where he got like 2 player of the matches in a row, and I just thought finally he's turned up.
Yeah, because he had a slow start as well, and I thought that we wouldn't even bother renewing his. I think it was a loan with option to buy. We got him in for, and I thought after a few games we're not gonna buy him. But he kind of around when Jose came in. Actually, he started playing really well, and towards the end of the season he was our best player by far. But I don't know this season he didn't score any goals last season. He has actually started scoring goals now as well. So I hope he will start again, definitely, because I think when we signed Højbjerg, I thought that would be our 3. I thought that gave us good balance, and Ndombele, Lo Celso, and Højbjerg. I thought that would be the 3 that would work. And he hasn't played them 3 together from the start yet.
Yeah, I
don't know if he's saving that or he's like doesn't think it's going to work like he thought it would. But I'd like to see him start more, definitely.
Also, what's happened to Dele Alli? He's kind of disappeared into nothingness. He was linked with a move to PSG in the summer. And I just see him with a moustache turn up once in a while in the media, and that's it.
I don't know. I mean, he must have had a fallout, right? I don't know, because he wasn't playing much. I think his game time started to decrease last season. He started the game against Everton, and he was terrible, and he got taken off at half-time, and he hasn't started a game in the league since. Which is a shame as a Spurs fan, because I do really like him.
Good.
And
he's been so good under Poch.
He's been so good. Yeah, but even in the last sort of year under Poch, he wasn't great, to be honest. His performances have been dipping for a little while because he was so good in The 16-17, I think.
Is that the one where you lost
Yeah.
to Chelsea?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that one. He was unbelievable that year, and he hasn't got back to that. I don't know. It's a shame because he's just sort of lost. He doesn't seem to care when he plays.
Yeah.
He sort of struggles around. Doesn't really seem that bothered. And he sort of always was a bit like that. He never really looks that into it. But he'd always like do something special and get himself back into the game. But he's just not been doing that for about a year and a half now, I'd say.
I remember that All or Nothing where Mourinho talked about his training and about how he's one of the worst trainers. So I wonder if that's had something to do with it. But
Definitely. I think he worked him out straight away, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And he's challenged him. He's done it with a few players in the past. He's done it with Ndombele, and he's responded positively to it. But kind of Dele Alli's gone the other way with it. He's challenged him to improve his commitment, improve his attitude, and clearly he's not liked what he's seen.
No.
So he's not playing him.
You've also had, I think this is a big conversation to have again after the next few games you've got. Because you've got Chelsea next. I think you've got you have a difficult.
Then Arsenal, then Palace, then Liverpool.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
So after that Liverpool, or even after the Leicester game afterwards, it'd be good
Oh,
to
yeah,
look back
Leicester
and
as well.
think.
Wolves as well after that, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Tough run.
if you can get through that with getting, I don't know, on average 2 points a game, maybe all of a sudden you are in this conversation.
I think we should be. I think we would have earned the right to be in the conversation after that. But I think I just remember looking at the start of this run. I was like, especially these first five, because Leicester and Wolves isn't. I don't know. I just looked at that later. We had City, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, Palace away, I think, and Liverpool away. So I was like, if we come out of that with 10 points, I think I was like that would be great. Sort of 7 or 8 is fine, but I reckon 10 is what we should be looking at, and I think we can get that now. I think we've got to beat Arsenal. I think that's what we've got to do, and beat Palace, and then try and get a point in one of the other two, because you can't go to Anfield expecting anything ever, because
Mourinho just had this knack of, it used to work really well in like 05, 06 when he was at Chelsea, but it's kind of started to be to his detriment recently. Of just
had the best squad going then as well.
Of just going for a draw. I'm trying to think. He did it against Man United in the first game he came back. He just basically played for a draw, and he scored early, and then I think they got a bit of a lucky penalty with Bruno. But in my head, you've got to go out and win those games, because if you're going to win a title nowadays where it's like 90 to 100 points to win it, you've got to go and win those games. Whereas I think if you're going to set up to draw, what's now going to be 5 other games against the top 6, that's a lot of points that could be dropped. And I think he's got the squad and the personnel. I think Tottenham have the best personnel, well, actually third behind City and Liverpool, of squad ability in the league, even in front of Chelsea or Man United or Arsenal. I
agree, yeah. It's quite a deep squad now, actually, and that always was the problem, because we looked to the bench and we had Lamela, Llorente, that's players like that, and now I looked at the bench and we got Bale, and we got I don't know, Lo Celso to come on the other day. So there's the depth. We had a great window over the summer, definitely, probably maybe the best in the league actually.
Yeah.
Really added in places we needed.
So I remember that when you went to the Champions League final, you had it with Sissoko and Winks as your defensive two, and I just thought, how is that got?
I know.
What
I don't know.
Poch work to get that to her? Yeah, no.
No, it's magic that. You're saying about we can't. You can't go to Liverpool and try and beat them. I don't know. The only game I'll excuse him going and playing for a draw is Liverpool away. I think I wouldn't really mind that, because if we do get a draw, it's a great result. But I don't want to play for a draw this weekend.
I was about to say, if you do it against Chelsea, all of a sudden I think.
I don't want us to do that, because I think we can beat them. I'm not sure we will, but I think we can. I think it's definitely possible.
I think they're the games where Lampard especially will struggle is against, because I think right now he's just blowing teams away with his quality. Like Ziyech looks like a player and a half. Werner's look like he's growing. He always looked good, but he's starting to get the goals and assists to build on that now. So I think this would be the big test for Lampard, if he can outsmart a team with similar squad abilities and just blown them away with great players.
Yeah, we did it twice last season actually. They beat us home and away.
Yeah.
You were a bit
Chelsea
injury
last year.
ravaged though, weren't you? In the
We were
corresponding
that home,
game last season. The home one they were really good. Where they beat you 2-0. They were
and
really
it was also
good.
they did play well at our place last year, but we did give them a hand. I mean, Son was sent off.
Yeah.
There was that ridiculous penalty. Do you remember when Gazaniga came out and just kicked him chest high?
Yeah.
So we're definitely a better side.
Yeah,
now.
I remember the game last season at the Bridge. You just didn't have anyone up front to hold the ball. I remember Kane was out. I can't remember if Son played or not, but like literally, you went 1-0 down.
I think he did.
Yeah, you went 1-0 down about 15 minutes in, and I was just like, there is no way they're getting back into. I just couldn't see how you were going to score a goal.
No.
And I know you got you got an own goal at the end to make it 2-1, but it was like. I just couldn't see you scoring on that day without Kane. I can't remember if Son played or not, but Mourinho proper went for, I think he played like a 5-4-1 and he was like, we'll take a draw. I think he just played in the Champions League.
I think that must have been the
week. A few days later. I can't remember what it was.
We went, so that was the sort of week, like that sort of time we went to Leipzig and played like a front three of Lamela, Lucas and Sessegnon or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we did scrape past them in the League Cup earlier this season. I don't know about Chelsea really.
I find them hard to judge so far.
And my last question on Tottenham would be: are you worried about your centre back depth? Because Joe Rodon has been signed for 20 million. Looked like a smart signing, but he's only played 8 minutes in the league so far. And Alderweireld's legs can snap at any moment. I don't think many.
Well, he's injured.
Is he injured right now?
He got injured. He came off against City, which is sort of the only negative of the game. And they're worried that it is serious. They're not sure, but they're worried that it is because he went down instantly. Was like kind of I need to come off. I am because I love Eric Dyer. I think he's great. I don't know how he doesn't agree with.
Because we're genuinely. I'll tell you why I don't agree. Because we're genuinely going to end up with a Eric Dyer, Harry Maguire centre back partnership at the Euros.
Yeah.
And I can't watch that. I just can't mentally prepare myself for those two.
Eric Dyer's great next to Toby, but I don't know. I actually don't know who he's going to play there because I think Sanchez is still out. I'm not sure.
He's a disaster. He is a calamity. He's a calamity.
I am definitely worried about centre back.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, Eric Dyer, I just remember him famously for that game against Chelsea, where you'd lost the league, so he was like, I was going to kick the shit out of them.
How did he not get sent off?
I don't know. That was so funny.
I honestly think the referee just forgot to send him off because he played the advantage, didn't he? And he absolutely went through the back of Fabregas.
He took out Fabregas and then someone else ran down the other end and then he took him out as well.
Hazard.
We'll go away both and that was brilliant.
Unbelievable.
But on the other side of the result, should Man City start to be worried about this season? They've just fallen below Man United. They look like they're struggling.
They've had some hard games. They have had some hard games that they've probably had among the hardest fixtures of anyone in the league, but you can't, you got to look at the statistics. They've played 8 games. They've scored 9 goals.
They were minus 1 goal difference.
Yeah, I know. This is not the Man City used to watch. I mean, Kane had their centre-backs on toast. I mean, he really did. He was just absolutely...
That was one of his best performances against a big side in ages. I think he was better than he was against United because it was easy.
He didn't score or get... did he get the assist? I don't think he did.
Yeah,
he got the second one, didn't he? He got the second one, of course. I was going to say, but even without the goal contributions, you would still say he was the best player on the pitch. And there aren't a lot of strikers that can do that, I think, in the Premier League, where they don't contribute towards a goal. I know he got an assist, but even if he didn't, he would have been the best player on the pitch. And there aren't a lot of players that can do what he did on Saturday, I don't think. As much as I hate saying it.
You look at Man City, Raheem Sterling doesn't look like the player we've seen over the last few years, especially since he left. Liverpool, Ruben Diaz looks like a good signing, but then I think their issues have been going forward, isn't it? They've not scored many goals. 10 goals. Yeah,
I couldn't understand what they were trying to do on Saturday when they were 1-0, especially the second half. Yeah. They kept trying to play it down the wing and put balls in the box. I was just like, who's going to head them in? Man City are at their best against the low block when they play the quick 1-2s and they sort of break through teams, and they weren't doing any of that.
Yeah, I don't know what Pep came to the game expecting to happen because he must have known we were going to play like that because we did. He did the same last season and got lucky
Honestly,
last season, but this season
100%.
I actually
No, I
thought
don't think you were. I don't think you
we
were.
outplayed them. I
I don't
think.
think you were. You had all the best chances in the game, and
Yeah,
also the goal they conceded, the first goal. He knows how Tottenham are going to play. He knows that
yeah,
ideally they want to get in front, however they can do it. To give a goal away like they did on that first one, the most bog standard free kick routine. Kane runs towards it, Son runs off
yeah.
the back of him. It is like what you would see at like under 12s level. It is so bad what happened there. So
It was like it was
I have no
pre-planned.
sympathy. Yeah, of course it was.
Just the way when
Mourinho's
Kane
been
dropped
known for
at the same
this.
time.
He's been known to do this in his career, where he on free kicks he'll sort of try and run the best header of the ball or the best defender running in behind, try and get them underneath it and put someone in
Hmm.
behind them. He's been known to this all his career. So for them to concede a goal like that early in the game as well is I just find so unacceptable on so many levels, and they got what they deserved ultimately.
They had no game plan going. But I was saying to the guy I was watching it with, well, I might eat my words, but I don't think they're going to break us down playing through the middle or doing crosses. They have to do something different because they were just whipping the crosses in, Dyer just heading them away, loving
Yeah.
it. And they kept trying to play it through the middle. And we had Sissoko and Højbjerg basically playing in like a back.
It's a back six at times, wasn't it? They dropped in, yeah.
You can't. They're not going to play through that. They kept trying it, and they're just getting nowhere. So I was like, "Is he going to change it?" And because they looked decent in the first half. In the second half, they were rubbish. I thought
You can see why they're struggling to score goals, can't you?
didn't threaten us at all. Although they had a lot of decent chances, we had the best chances, but I never really felt like we were getting outplayed, that they were going to score. Whereas last season, when we beat them, they really. We were lucky last season.
Yeah.
But this time, no.
They had 20 shots, but only 3 of them had an XG of above 0.1. So that just shows us a lack of a game plan to generate decent shots, and it's just a bit.
That's what I thought. I don't know what Pep was trying. I really
don't know how Pep's got this 2-year contract. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
it's the worst
time.
They're
getting it now. Yeah,
but
I just thought for a manager of his caliber to turn up to a game like that, even it was so obvious that's what we were going to do. He must have known we were going to play like
2
that.
weeks
he just had
nothing, as well,
and had nothing against it. He just sort of played right into our hands, and I thought that was just so obvious.
This is the longest Pep's been at. This is the longest Pep's been at a club, isn't it?
Yeah, he was at Barca for 4 years, I think, and then he's been at City since 2016. So yeah.
So I wonder if he's just struggling from a bit of fatigue. I mean,
it'd be interesting to see. I mean, presuming he sees out the rest of his contract, if you look at that squad, there's kind of a lot of turning over that has to be done in terms of some of the players they've got. They're going to be moving them on and replacing them. And it would be interesting to see how he sort of goes about building his second team per se. I mean, you've got the likes of Company and Silva that are already gone.
Aguero's going now as well.
Yeah,
and even De Bruyne's been there for ages as well, and he was.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah,
get up with it.
Aguero's going. Carl Walker's getting on a bit. I'd be surprised if he sees out his contract.
I think I don't think they'll sack him, but just out of principle.
I don't think they'll sack him, but he might leave.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if he's still there in 2023.
Yeah,
I'm not looking good if you're a Man City fan.
It's not, no.
The next game we look on to is, of course, the Liverpool v Leicester game. Ended 3-0 to Liverpool. And it was I think it was a different kind of performance than what you've normally seen from Klopp for the last 2 years. A bit more like when he first came in, where they were just like, we're just going to outscore you. I thought, their attitude was just, our defence isn't that good, we're just going to score, They had an XG of 3.77, which I think it's one of the highest so far this season, even after
Schmeichel played pretty well. I think he made 9 saves or something.
So Liverpool fans, I think you shouldn't be worried in these games. And I think except from Gomez and Van Dijk, a lot of the rest of the players, they're not long-term loans, so they will be back over time. Salah will be back from COVID. So, I think it's a positive performance if you're a Liverpool fan. If you're a Leicester fan, I think you can count yourself a bit unlucky not to get a goal, because I thought they had the chances at some points to get one. But I mean, you can still be. I don't think Leicester are actually that good in these kind of games where it's when they come against a top team. I think they're just better than other teams around them at beating the lower teams.
I think it's really hit and miss. I think
Yeah.
sometimes they turn up and like they did in Arsenal,
And they battered Man
do a
City
bit
as
of a
well,
job.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, they did a job on Man City as well, but they got there's exceptional circumstances in both of those games. The Man City game, they got 3 penalties in a game,
Yeah.
which is just like
And they
ridiculous.
scored a screamer as well.
Yeah, and Maddison scores a belter, and then the Arsenal game. I mean, we weren't great, but we had a goal wrongly disallowed. If that goes in after 4 minutes and you're 1-0 up, rather than 0-0 and they nick it in the 80th minute, I think certain things, like in those games, you could say have gone their way. And I just thought they were totally outclassed, to be honest with you. You could say they're unlucky not to score, but Liverpool were just miles better than them. Liverpool have an edge over Leicester. I feel like every time they play them, someone expects Leicester to do probably better than they always end up doing. You think like last year on Boxing Day, Liverpool have just played in the Club World Cup. Leicester have had 5 or 6 days rest. They're second in the league, home atmosphere. Liverpool just went there and absolutely battered them. It was one of the most
4-0.
one-sided games I've ever seen.
Jota looks like
I think in these games, absolutely. I think in these games they just, particularly against Liverpool, they're really struggling. I don't know if it's a Brendan Rodgers thing, where there's sort of a mental edge there, which is something I hadn't actually considered, to be honest with you. But if you look at their results in some of the other games, they certainly have a mental block when it comes to Liverpool. Their results against them are really poor.
Yeah.
So,
but then you look at Jota, who they got for 35 million, I think, or 45 million. But it's like the Pepe deal, where it's lots of instalments over a long time. And he had 5 shots, 3 key passes, got a goal. Like, he looks like a real player, like a really good buy.
He's been great.
And I think it's just that sort of business just embarrasses the rest of the top teams in the way that they.
I don't know how they do it every time. They just manage to find someone for like 30 million, and they're brilliant. I don't know how they're able to do it.
They don't do bad recruitment, do they? I'm trying to think of their last really bad signing. Do you know what I mean? There's been a couple where you could go, they've not quite. Yeah, probably. It probably dates back to Klopp's like first full season.
Yeah.
You're probably looking that far back. But even then, that squad they were trying to build then wasn't a squad to win the league. It was to get them back into the Champions League, and then you go again, and you kind of get upgrades on those players you sort of brought in 2-3 years down the line, which is what they've done if you look at it. But I mean, the last 2 or 3 years they haven't made a poor signing for mine.
Yeah,
Jota, maybe like that Minamino bloke, but I mean,
it's 7 million. It's like
not much.
That's what I mean. They haven't done business where you could look at some of the transfers Arsenal have made, some of the ones Man United have made. Chelsea have done a couple which have been poor, like where they've signed players for big money and they've been really bad, to be honest with you, relative to their transfer value. So I think it's a combination of a lot of thought goes into their recruitment. I think the manager's driving it. I think they are a data-led team. So they have players that they want to get in to do a certain job, and they trust their analysts. They trust the guys that are sort of looking at the system and who will fit best to go off and get it done. And when you're doing that, it's kind of quite hard to go dramatically wrong with it, I think. So
I remember famously in an interview, Klopp said he doesn't get any or much say in transfers. He just gets given these players, and they end up being really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if he has no say. But I certainly believe at Liverpool there's a level of delegation where they trust those guys in those positions to go off and just sign the right players. So if he says, I want a right back, they'll look at the team. Just an example, because I know Trent's fantastic. But if he said, I want a right back, I think they would look at what they need and be able to bring him anyone that he wanted without even consulting him.
And I think
that's the level of I think you're looking at.
We're going to get a right back, and you can retrain him into a right. We're going to get a right mid, and you can retrain him into a right back. Because you got to remember, Trent started his career as a centre mid. I
think he could end up as centre mid, funnily enough.
But
for England, maybe.
Yeah, I think England just have too many good right backs for them all to play there.
Definitely. I think we've got to say Liverpool are still favourites.
Definitely. It's I said at the start of the season, and I stand by it. I still think it's their title to lose.
Yeah, I agree.
Circumstances have changed a bit, obviously, with some of the injuries they've got. I think the winning tally will be lower. So when Bob was saying earlier about you need to win some of these big games because you're looking at 90 to 100 points, I don't think it's going to be that high this season. I could be wrong, but I could see.
I agree.
I could see the lowest tally since Leicester winning it.
Yeah, they won it with 84, I think.
Like probably not even as much as that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been much higher. Definitely wouldn't have been higher. So yeah, I agree. I think if you're a Tottenham fan though, as much as I hate to say it, you're excited. You like what you're seeing because ultimately going into the season, I mean, I could be wrong, but you'd have taken top 4, right?
Yeah.
And then anything beyond that's a bonus because it's at least a 3-year project with that. When he comes in mid-season, you kind of get through the season, then he gets a few of his transfers. And I mean, I wouldn't cross the road to watch Højbjerg play, but you've got to say he's come in and he does it. But I wouldn't. But he does a job for them. He's a very sort of he's a system player. He's someone that will play on the back 4. He reads the play well. He breaks it up, and he just does a job for you. No more, no less.
Great.
But you need those players in that team.
We have needed someone like that for ages.
Yeah.
Maybe we have Wanyama a few seasons ago who did that really well, and he sort of dropped off. And since then we've lacked, and we've sort of tried to put like Winks in there or Dyer in there. They're just not. And we've always had a problem there. And he's come in and just already seems like a team leader. Like he seems like the players look to him. And he's just great. He's brilliant. Love him so much already. He loves the club.
I think back to Moussa Dembele when he was in the comp, like he was one of the best players.
They miss a player like him.
We do, yeah.
Steps towards
can't really replace
I think most teams would, to be honest.
He's just like irreplaceable, though. I mean, I think Ndombele's got it a bit in like the ball carrying, the strength and bouncing off players and stuff. But there's no one like Dembele. He's just kind of a unique sort of player. You can't try and get another player like him. You got to like try and get 2 who will try and do similar jobs. I think maybe we've got Ndombele and Celso. Like as a 2, they might do that, or Ndombele and Sissoko. But yeah, he was quite special. Højbjerg, brilliant and cheap as well. We paid like 15 million for him or something. Plus Walker Peters.
Yeah, that's bargain. Leicester on the other hand, I never know what with Leicester how they're going to respond to this kind of fixture. If they'll crash and burn, or if they'll bounce back and probably beat whoever they have 4-0 next week because Vardy will turn up.
We got Fulham next, to be fair.
Oh, that's perfect.
They probably will.
Couldn't dream of anything better. But no, I still think Leicester make really smart business. I think Fofana looks like a real bargain.
He does.
And I think if you're a Leicester fan, as much as you're probably annoyed that you lost this game, I think
take it with a pinch of salt, don't you? To be honest,
take it with a pinch of salt.
I think the manner. I think the manner of defeat does matter sometimes, and I do think they were outclassed. And ideally, you'd have competed a bit better. But no, if you're looking at it as you're sort of trying to gain points on your rivals, if they're trying to get top 4, say, I don't think any of their top 4 rivals go there and get anything. They might at best get a point. So you're losing a point at most, I think. So, as an isolated incident, obviously you never want to lose a game 3-0, but bigger picture, they're sort of they're a bigger there are easier games with bigger tests to come, I think, against sort of competitors.
I think Castagne's a big miss as well. He come in and really looked good, and then he got injured I think he was meant to be back this weekend, but he didn't play.
They've had some injuries. Yeah, they've had some injuries.
But I think if you look at their first, if they would have looked at their first sort of 10 games of the season and seen they've got Arsenal away, City away, and Liverpool away, to come away from those 6 points is great.
Yeah,
they would definitely have taken that. And
they took 1 point from those corresponding fixtures last season. So
they're doing pretty well this season.
Leicester just needs to keep doing what they're doing, just beating the small teams really well and convincingly, and they'll be fine. I think. Again, top 4 this year is going to be really competitive. I think even more than last year. But if you can just be in with a shout, and
which I think is what they'll be. They might nick it. They might not. I think it depends more on how the other teams do. Like rather than they'll go out and win it. I think they'll go out and get it. I think someone else will have to drop off to allow them to get it. But we'll see.
And the final game we'll look at this weekend is the Fulham Everton one, which was an absolute cracker on BBC.
Great game.
Everton looks so good until their midfield. Well, not until their midfield, until Decore. As much as he got a goal this weekend, Fulham look like they could split through that midfield really easily. And I remember watching it against, I think they played West Brom, and then they looked like
it was a bit of a shootout, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think even the game against Tottenham they played the first game of the season where they won 1-0, their midfield just looked a bit like it lacked defensive steel. And I think Allen's fine. I think Allen's a smart signing, even though he's 29, so not the age profile I'd go for. But the Corey's always had the luxury of being playing beside Capoue at Watford and then playing against now with Allen. And there was this 1 year at Watford where he overperformed his XG. He got like 8 goals, and XG said he should have got 5. And everyone saw him as just like attacking midfielder. And since then, he's just not been that. He's just been a bit of a floater. And I just think everyone said after the first few weeks, Everton are going to get top 4. They might even challenge for the league. I don't think any sensible person believe that. But you've got to sort out that midfield and sort out that goalkeeper, because the midfield too is just it's such an annoying limiting. Like they are Everton's limiting factors right now.
I don't think the centre halves are any good either, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
I don't know about Godfrey, but I wouldn't take either of the other two.
Yowie Mina and Michael Keane.
Yeah, they're just a bit meh. You know what I mean? They're fine.
They're not going to get top 4.
No.
Which is annoying because you've got such great attacking talent in Dominic Calvert-lewin, Richarlison.
He's been great. Been great for my fantasy as well.
Yeah, Digne looks like a really good fullback.
Digne's good. Digne's top 5 in the league, maybe even top 3 left backs. He's really good.
And you've got all these great things, and it just feels like so annoying to be let down in such obvious areas. But even still, they won the game 3-2. And they were hanging on a bit the second half. They were a bit on the ropes. I'd sort of didn't Fulham miss a penalty and then go on to score straight afterwards?
Yeah, like a minute later. So it was comical if you haven't seen it. I mean, honestly, the poor boy just slips, kicks it against his own leg. I mean, it's not quite as bad as the Panenka one. But I mean, if you're a Fulham fan and you're seeing that, you're just thinking like, what is it up there that's against us? Good God.
Yeah.
So, I don't like saying Fulham are down already, but it's not. Well, actually,
I don't know. I like Scott Parker. I do like him. Obviously, I do sort of always root for them a little bit, but they just look terrible. Don't they?
To see results coming, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
you're being realistic about it.
They're only a point off Burnley, who are 17th. They're currently 18th, and then West Brom.
Yeah, I mean, you might see it this year that the bottom 3 could be really tight, but not around that 40-point mark. It's like lower than that.
Yeah, 29.
Because I think there's a few poor sides in the division this year. I mean, look at Sheffield United. You look at Burnley is struggling.
I don't think Newcastle
Brighton obviously won at the weekend, but they're sort of playing well and not always getting the results. West Brom obviously. I think it'll be tight down there.
I think
probably.
But Fulham are going to do it because their attack is still good enough. Like their attack, in my eyes, is mid-table. Like probably as good, if not a little bit better than Crystal Palace's. But
you think?
Yeah, Mitrovic.
Palace got a good attack.
But I mean, Lookman's still a really good player. Mitrovic is good.
I've not watched them a lot this season, Fulham, but I just remember.
I watched them against Arsenal.
Yeah, well, that's the game I was going to reference. In that game, they didn't play badly. Like, their effort and commitment was good, which you'd expect on the first day of the season. I just thought they didn't have any quality, to be honest. And we're nothing special, but they literally didn't cause us any. I think their XG was like 0.08 for that game or something, which at home is just extremely low. So, I wouldn't mind seeing them stay up. It's a bloody nice away day. I've been there a few times. It's a favourite ground of mine actually to go to.
Nice ground.
Their defence is bar Areola.
The defence is championship level.
God,
at best, it's mid-table championship. They're so poor.
If Tim Ream is on your bench, something's terribly gone wrong.
Dennis Adoy shouldn't be anywhere near a Premier League side. No. He's so bad. I mean, I remember last time they were in the Premier League, so 2 seasons back, he was still making those sort of rickets for them, and he's still starting every week.
But yeah, God, I just. Fulham, sort your defence. That's all we ask. Just, you've clearly.
It's not easy though, is it?
They've clearly got some sensible scouting to get Lookman in. Harrison Reed looks like a bit of a player from Southampton. I think he's on loan. Ruben Loftus-Cheek looks really good. Got a goal. And I think Anguissa is really good as a DM. He's always high up in the stats. For example, for tackles and interceptions. So again, like Everton, there's class there that can keep them up, but they're just lacking key areas, which. Could probably be the bottleneck for them. But then, I mean, Sheffield United look like they can't win a game. Burnley won tonight.
It's weird that Sheffield United, isn't it? Yeah, they were great last season.
I really think they're struggling without fans, actually.
Yeah,
You look at it as well,
wonder
like post-lockdown, they were dreadful. Like they were really, really bad the back end of
They
last
beat us,
season.
they beat us in Chelsea. Though,
I know they were the
didn't
only 2 games they won. Funnily enough, like
Oh,
I think
really?
they lost every other game apart from those 2. Yeah,
Right.
they might have drawn 0-0 with Villa when they're that dislike. But I mean, their
Oh,
result
yeah.
post-lockdown were like so poor, and they just
Hmm.
completely fell away because they were in contention for bloody Champions League before lockdown.
They were.
I think they were 3 points behind with like a game in hand or something, and then
they were 2 points. If they realised,
was it 2 with a game?
If they were to do it by the way that League One did it, of points per game, they would have got Champions League.
Really?
Yeah. So they were
go.
really
Love
close.
that, to be fair. Brilliant.
They would have really
like John Egan leading a team like Burnham.
bottom of the Champions League group and the Premier League. But anyway, who is your player of the week? And mine is probably actually Lloris. I thought made 5 saves against Man City, and he did an absolute stunner. You were 2-0 up at the time, but it was a header from a corner, and I'm not sure if he hit it, but I think he just moved his arm out, and I just thought Lloris is an interesting player because there was a time about 2 years ago he made a few mistakes. I think it was around the drink driving thing as well. And then everyone thought this guy's done, as you do with a keeper. Over time, mistakes, you're done. But he's the first keeper I've seen that's come back and just been like, okay, no, I'm back to being a good enough goalkeeper for Tottenham.
It's sort of weirdly since he I think he dislocated his elbow at Brighton, like sort of around this time a bit before this time last year. And since then he's been great. He's been really good. He's been one of our best players. Generally, he hasn't made many mistakes. I mean, this season, I think the only goal that we've conceded that you think maybe he could save is the one that Ings scored. One like sort of a cross goal, if you remember seeing it. That's the only one I've seen and thought, maybe he could have saved that. Other than that, he's just been really solid, and he's like kind of a calming presence, I think, because he's started to come out and like claim corners a bit more as well. He did it a lot against West Brom. He did it against City as well.
Yeah. But anyone else got any suggestions?
It's difficult not to go with a Tottenham player, but I think I'll leave that to Goose. So for
would
me,
you go for?
From Tottenham, you'd have to, wouldn't you? I think.
Eric Dyer.
No, I think I'd probably go with Calvert-lewin because I just think that you can lead that into a discussion. Like he's added goals to his game this season. He kind of had he had a bit of a sort of purple patch last season under Ancelotti when he came in, and he was sort of scoring a bit more. But I've always thought with him, the last few seasons, he's a good player, but he's not clinical enough. Like he misses quite a few chances. Whereas this season, I mean, has he got more goals than games played now? I don't know how many that takes him to.
10,
I think
10 and 9.
he's only failed to score in one game, and then he's got a couple in a couple of games. So he's having a really good campaign. He's you wouldn't want to play against him. He's been excellent really for them. And I saw it come in, to be fair, with the attacking players they brought in. I just thought that he kind of is unrivaled for that central striker position. I think he's kind of clear of the other guys there. I just thought he would get goals, and I mean he's done wonders for my fantasy team. But the problem is now everyone's got
you had
him
from the start, didn't you?
Yeah, had him from week one
as well. Yeah,
he was a good option for like between 6 and 7 million. I think he would have been. So yeah, he's been great. He's been great. Rescued my fantasy a bit this week as well. So good on him.
I've got no idea who I would say for player of the week. I could pick any of them, to be honest.
Tottenham are that good.
Yeah, well, it's just like it was a really good team performance. Obviously, Kane was great. I mean, he was brilliant, but pretty much all the team, I'd say, were like sort of 8 out of 10 at least. Maybe not Bergwijn, but the rest of them were all really good. Like Lloris was great. Dyer and Taylor were brilliant. Reguilon was great. The midfield were great.
They're all just great.
They were all just great. It was a really solid because we had like a really set structure and
Mourinho.
Yeah, we had a real like sort of team performance, like good structure, all kind of stuck to their task and all just like all great. As I keep saying, I'd probably go Højbjerg. So I'll pick out.
So team to watch next week, I've gone for West Ham. They've got Villa, and I think if you're going to perform well, Villa's the team to do it at because everyone's excited about Villa. If you want to have a good performance, and people are like, oh, take recognition of you, without it being one of those top 6 teams, I think Villa's a good one to do it against. And West Ham look like they're on a bit of a charge. David Moyes at the helm, which is weird. but they are now 8th.
Some good results.
Yeah, they're 8th.
They've had hard fixtures as well. I mean, we pointed out at the start of the season they had a really hard start to the season. They've done pretty well, to be fair to them.
Yeah,
definitely.
I remember avoiding West Ham players in my FPL because their fixtures were that difficult, but they've come through it really well, and now they've got a bit of an easier run through to Christmas. Be interested to see if they can carry on that force, because if they can get Haaland scoring, then that changes the complexion of the team completely.
He's got a great guy the other day.
I think that is his first goal in Yonks. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they've still they signed Ben Rama. He's only played 90 minutes. He already made an assist, so he'd also be my player to watch next week, because I'd imagine he'll start. And I watched him at Brentford, and he was just elite for the Championship. He looked like he was taking the piss for 99% of it. So yeah, I think West Ham, they're going to be the exciting. People look back and go, which teams were exciting? People probably say Villa. I can imagine people saying West Ham as well.
I was going to say West Ham as well, actually. I was going to say West Ham just because they've at the start of the season they had some great wins. Like they battered Wolves and then Leicester as well. I think they've had a few inconsistent results, but now they've won their last 2 games. I think 1-0 both of them, kept clean sheet, and then they got lucky with the penalty. But 2 sort of clean sheets in a row, 2 sort of solid wins. They look pretty decent. I was just watching at Sheffield United, like Declan Rice he's really good. Like sitting in there, I do think he's actually really good for them. I think West Ham look a lot better this season than they have done in previous years. But we'll see. But I think they look pretty solid.
Which means they're definitely going to lose this weekend.
Yeah, probably.
They're that sort of team.
Any suggestions for you, Harry?
Looking at the fixtures, I don't know which one of them, but I think Everton Leeds will be a really good game. Because
I agree.
I just think that Leeds were unlucky against us, and kind of you say everything about the game, the way it went. It's kind of a bit Arsenal focused because obviously there's a red card and they ended up they played really well. I think a lot of teams would have struggled to deal with the way they pressed us, especially. I think part of it is that they're coming off the back of 2 4-1 losses in a row, and they had 2 weeks to prepare for it. They don't have loads of players that go away on international duty, but they should have won the game. They played really well, and I think they will take it to Everton. And Everton have been a bit shaky recently, so I'd say that's going to be a good game. I'd probably say Leeds out of the 2 of them, just be a good one to watch. I don't know how it will go, but I definitely think there will be goals.
Yeah, I hope so.
There'll be goals. But yeah, after that we can we can go on to our predictions for next week.
Absolutely.
Crystal, just to clarify from last week, Harry got 7. We're still waiting on the Wolves.
Yeah, Southampton Wolves is ongoing, right?
It's currently 0-0.
Wolves Southampton. Is it 0-0 still?
So Harry would be with his draw.
I'd be with 8. If that stays 0-0, I'll have 8 out of 10. So I'm pretty happy with that.
There's gonna be one.
And I think, to be honest, I think a bit of emotion got involved in that Tottenham prediction. I think I just wanted. I'm willing them to lose at the moment.
There'll be 1 week where we get 10 and we're like, why don't we put an acca on it or something like that?
Me and Goose used to do them all the time, and our success ratio is terrible.
Yeah, dreadful.
So Harry's on what would be 7 or 8. I'm on 6, and the guest, which was Curse that week and Goose this week, was on 4.
Gosh, what's going on?
Yeah,
poor showing from him.
Goose will hopefully turn it around. So
yeah.
First one, and this is interesting because I've just seen an article that Zaha's got COVID. Oh, Southampton are one of them. Walcott.
Ooh. Who scored?
Walcott.
Southampton looking tasty at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, Crystal Palace have got Zaha out for COVID. He's just tested positive to COVID.
Yeah.
So I would originally put them down as a win for Newcastle, but I can actually see it more as a draw. It's on Amazon, so hope one of the teams delivers.
I don't know how I got that one.
No, I did. Of course I did.
Yeah, that was good for a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, I think it'll be a draw as well. With Zaha, I would go for a Palace win, but I think a draw. I've not been too impressed by Newcastle this season. But Palace haven't been that great either, so I'll go with the draw.
Harry?
I'm going Palace. Newcastle are dreadful. They're just bad at football, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, except for Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser.
Oh, mate, they're just but as a team, they're sort of like a poorer version of us, if that makes sense. They just don't play attacking football in any sort of
No, I know they don't.
format. They just can't do it. They can't build attacks and sustain attacks. It's really, really dire. So I think they're going to get beat.
What do you think, Goose? Oh, draw. Sorry.
He said draw.
I think draw. Yeah.
Brighton v Liverpool.
Liverpool, easy. I think. I feel like they're going.
Bob loves Brighton.
I do love Brighton.
Really?
Yeah. I love Potter.
No, I just think early kick-off Saturday they're going to be fired up. I'm just going to absolutely.
He's already got his excuses in though, Clark. He's already whinging about it.
Oh yeah, we're going to end up with 11 players, less than 11 players. Just everyone's got the same problem. Just deal with it.
I know.
God, Klopp loves a moan about something so stupid.
So did the Liverpool fans. I saw some stuff on social media. They were going on about how Klopp's been vilified, but then when Solskjaer mentioned it, people were slating Solskjaer after the Everton game when he started talking about how the fixtures were unfair, saying how he's whinging and he's getting his excuses in. So I don't really know what they're talking about.
So for that reason, I'll go for a Brighton win. Fuck it. Brighton win 2-1.
No,
really?
Lamptey's suspended. Liverpool going to win that.
Yves Bissouma will have a game of his life.
He'll have to, and they'll still probably get beat.
Man City, Burnley. Oh, sorry, do you say Liverpool?
No, I'll just City again. I think easily.
So do I, because
bog standard City win. I think.
Yeah. I mean, if they don't win,
yeah.
Good God, if they don't win, I mean,
Chris Wood back.
They're in serious trouble.
Dangerous territory if they don't win.
Well, Burnley just won. They might want to get on a bit of a roll.
They do. That's
go there and do a job.
I think we all think Man City win there.
Yeah, definitely.
Everton Leeds. I'm still going for Everton. I think they're fine. If now Richarlison's back, they'll be fine. They'll just win games.
I don't know about this one. I'm not sure. I do think Everton. I still think Everton will win, but I think it'll be close. Leeds will definitely score. It might be like a 2-1 or a 3-2. I think it'll be close, but I think Everton will win.
I think 3-0 or 0-0.
3-3 or 0-0, but no.
0-0. No, surely
3-3 or 0-0. But that's what I'm saying. I'm predicting a high-scoring draw, which just definitely means it's going to be 0-0.
Yeah. West Brom v Sheffield United is a game that you should get
Don't
tickets
care.
for.
I don't care.
It's the championship game for 2020-2021. But fuck. 1-0 Sheffield United. Because they can't be on
Who's at home? Sheffield United.
West Brom. No, West Brom at home.
But they can't be on one.
A bit unlucky.
I think West Brom actually they were quite good against us. They were great against Chelsea that first half hour as well. I think they.
Yeah, they're a bit unlucky actually in those 3 games to have only taken 1 point. If you think about it, because they were winning 3-2 to the last minute against Chelsea. They were 0-0 with Spurs to the 89th minute, and then United. I mean, the whole penalty situation was just ridiculous. So they're very unlucky. Yeah, I think I'll go West Brom as well.
Yeah. Southampton v Man United.
This is going to be a good game.
So, unless you're a United fan, might you be?
No, I think it'll be a good game. I think they'll get something, but I think there'll be goals. I think Southampton they've really improved since they got battered by Spurs. That was just awful. And then since then they've played really well. I think are they unbeaten since then? I can't remember them having lost a game since. I think they lost their first 2, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They lost to Palace, and then they've been quite good since.
Ings
is injured still, isn't he?
If they win tonight, I think they go like 4th or something.
Yeah, they've been.
It would make sense. They were top of the league.
They were top at one point. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure though. I just feel like United are quite good in these games, to be honest.
Yeah. Depends how Southampton play. If Southampton come out and go at United, I think United could do them on the counter attack. Like a bit like Spurs did, and with some of the goals, they just kept lobbing it over the top. I think United could do the same with Bruno sort of putting it through for the front guys. But if Southampton sort of sit a bit deeper and put the emphasis on United to break them down, then they could definitely get something. I think I'm going to go draw.
I'm going to go for a Man United win and Bruno to get a penalty. And Man United
I just don't.
deserve it.
I don't see anything in Man United at the moment which makes me think they're going to win that game. They're not playing very well.
I think that before every game that they win. I didn't think they would go and beat Everton.
No, I did. But Everton, you're right, and they played well, but Everton were dreadful. I mean, that was the worst I've seen Everton play this season. They were shocking.
United win as well.
Yeah.
I do think they'll win.
It's funny Bob said about the midfield earlier, because that's like the finest example. Everton's midfield in that game, like there just wasn't one. There was so much space. It just didn't function.
Chelsea v Spurs. Probably the box office game of the weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, him again.
Lampard v Mourinho. What is it, like youngster v master? Spurs
All that bollocks, yeah. Do we think there's bad blood?
I don't know. I think there is, yeah. They were having
I think there is. I think there's a little sort of in the League Cup, even in the league last season. Yeah.
I think that's it. I think Mourinho just is a bit sick of him, like being so arrogant, because Mourinho's like, have some respect for me, considering I basically made your career. Like, come on, show everything. He kept like doing like this, like just like making gestures at him, and in that League Cup game, just being a real arse, Lampard. I don't like him very much, if you can probably tell. So I don't know if we're going to win though. I think it'll be a draw.
Spurs win.
I reckon Spurs win.
I've just slated him for the first 20 minutes. Yeah, Spurs win.
Yeah.
I hope Spurs don't get beat, because I think if they don't get beat, then I give us a better chance of taking something off. I think if they get beat by Chelsea and get beat convincingly, there's just no way that we're getting anything off them. Mourinho will just have them so fucking fired up. So I sort of hope they get something. I'll go with draw.
So I think for us this game is like, I mean, we don't have to win this game. Like, it's not a must win, but it's one that we really don't want to lose. It's one I think, especially because they're second as well. I think it's one that, like, if we lose, then I think that's a problem. If we get a point, then that's fine. I think Jose will know that as well. I don't think he'll mind a point from that game.
Arsenal v Wolves. What is an Arsenal?
We're going to get beat.
What is an Arsenal?
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think you're going to win. I think you'll win.
I just don't see any reason to think we'll win.
Yeah. Because you've had struggles recently. I think a home game, I don't know.
We've been playing rubbish at home. We've lost the last 2 home games without scoring.
And normally,
I know, but I just
in these sort of fixtures as well. Not Leeds, Leicester and Villa. Well, in theory, it should change. I don't know if it will.
It's scrape a 1-0 or 2-1.
What we need is an early goal. If we score an early goal, I think we'll win. It's sort of like you look at the one against Leicester that was disallowed. That could have been totally different. The Villa game we were just outplayed. It was just all around bad. That one was more concerning. We know what Wolves are going to come and do. They're going to come with their 5 at the back. They'll put a couple of men up top and they'll just look to hit us on the break. It's what any team should do against us, by the way, and that's how they play. So I sort of look at it and I think what they do is what we're really bad at playing against. So it's sort of hard for me to be optimistic about it.
They've not been great this season.
No, they haven't, but they've still got good players that can punish you. So I don't know. It's a really hard one to call. I
think you'll win. I think you'll bounce back with a important win, like a nervy one. But I think
the interesting thing is last year, if it was again like this, you'd go Arsenal 1-0 and Aubameyang to just do something special. But he hasn't.
That's the problem at the moment. We don't look like we can get that individual brilliance up front that's going to sort of get us results in these games.
0-0 draw.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm being a bit overreactionary. I shouldn't predict. We shouldn't lose, but I sort of like. I don't see why we should win either. I think it could just be a 1-1 draw.
I think you'll nick something.
Like I said,
I'd be surprised.
No, yeah, draw, 0-0 draw. You'll be outplayed again and get lucky.
Yeah. Well.
Leicester v Fulham. Leicester bounce back 5-0. Why do we ever question them? Vardy gets a hat trick.
Yeah, Vardy will. Vardy. In fact, I brought him in. Fantasy, I think.
I think Leicester will batter them.
Yeah.
Or Fulham.
Like 3 or 4 now.
They like these games, these home games against these terrible teams.
And the game I'm looking forward to most, West Ham v Aston Villa. West Ham
might be the hardest one to call this weekend.
West Ham, they just look really good.
Villa. I don't know how serious the injury to Barkley is, but I just think Villa are on this cycle at the moment. One good game, one bad game. One good game,
that's
bad game.
what I'm saying. It's
a lot of sides are. having seen them like in the flesh, and Liverpool fans will tell you this, well, not in the flesh, but seen them play our team, having seen that, like when they're good, they are really good. Like they do play some really good football and have players that can hurt you. And if they can do that to, teams like Liverpool, then if they turn up, I think they'll rip West Ham apart. And I think West Ham is one of those, like, they are on a good run, and it will be interesting, like you said, to see if they can sustain it. But we just know what they're like. Like every time you think they're a proper side, they throw a shit result in there, and I think this could be that one. So I think Villa will win that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Villa will win.
Cool. And to the part that's past the football, some random news.
What have you dug up this time?
Belgian racing pigeon New Kim sells for £1.4 million in mystery bidding war between Super Duper and Hitman.
£1.4 million for a pigeon.
£1.4 million for a pigeon.
A pigeon's race? Is that a thing?
That's a thing.
How does that work?
So you, they have to basically go across the country as quick as they can, or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Spending 1.4 million on that.
That's Jack Butland. That's Jack Butland as a racing pigeon.
But hang on, how do they know where they're going though?
I think they have like a really good sense of it.
Who's a footballer as a pigeon? It's got to be Lineker, hasn't it? Shit all over the place. Yeah, exactly. It just has to be. It's just got to be. It has to be Lineker.
Yeah, Lineker.
He probably would have gone for 1.4 million in his day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right. Good answer.
Yeah. And NASA debunks alien hunters' claim they discover on moon. So basically, on the moon, there was like this. It looked like a pyramid, and then this alien conspiracist thought it was aliens building this pyramid, and NASA casually debunked it. So first question is: do you believe in aliens?
To believe in aliens?
Do you believe in aliens? Yeah.
Oh, it's a heavy talk for a football podcast, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? But this is what brings the punters in, Goose. You have to understand.
Yeah.
Every week, yeah, man. Every time we come onto this sort of random segment at the end, it seems to be what the people want to hear. We might have to get to the point where we dedicate an entire podcast to talking about racing pigeons and aliens.
Yeah.
If that's what people want to hear, then you've got to give the people what they want. Do I believe in aliens?
I think here's
go on.
So the odds, because the galaxies are expanding, the odds of there not being aliens is like 0.00001%, but not like as we're formed, but just like as single organisms. So I think there's like single organisms out there that in a billion years of time won't build a civilization, but will have remnants of life. But
there you go. You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah, in a billion years
you heard it here first.
When we get attacked from Mars.
We are, as a podcast, sort of trailblazing for the existence of aliens in this form. So when it does transpire to actually be correct, you know exactly where to find it in just another football podcast.
Yeah,
I just feel like I'm in absolutely no position to comment on whether aliens exist, to be honest.
Okay.
As like a university student studying philosophy, I haven't got a bloody clue.
Neither do I.
I'd say.
But, and what would you do in an alien invasion?
Christ,
would you like side with them and be like, Judas to the human
defect?
Race? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you would, Goose.
Yeah.
I think Goose would.
Why me?
Because I don't know, mate. I've played Among Us with you, and you're just a bit of a snake, mate.
Right, yeah, I reckon I would try and befriend them.
So the issue is, what if it goes wrong?
It's a smart thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah. What if it goes wrong and you get, you tried to cost the entire human civilization for the next thing that came round to die last, basically. War of the Worlds we won in the end of it.
It's a dog-eat-dog world, mate. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's an alien-eat-alien world. You've got to just try and survive, Bob. Don't you think?
And on the note of an alien world, that's the end of the podcast.
It's the end. Thanks guys. Thanks for listening.
And listening.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, Goose.
Enjoyed it a lot.